Captain Elias Hart walked through the metallic corridors of the starship Aurora, his boots echoing softly against the polished floor. The crew bustled around him, preparing for the landing on Zyphora, a planet shrouded in strange purple mist and home to a civilization that had long considered humans primitive. To them, humans were weak, fragile, and predictable. Elias, however, had learned a long time ago that appearances could be deceiving. He adjusted the strap of his utility belt, checking his equipment. To the untrained eye, he looked like any other human. Average height, brown hair, and a quiet demeanor that made him seem unremarkable. His uniform was neat, his expression calm, and there was no visible sign that this ordinary man had survived countless near-death experiences in the uncharted regions of space. His first officer, Lieutenant Mara Keene, approached him with a tablet in her hands. "Captain, the landing coordinates have been confirmed. Zyphora's government has scheduled our first audience with Queen Lyra in 2 hours." Elias nodded without speaking, his mind already running through the plans. Diplomatic missions were delicate. One wrong move could ignite conflict instead of building alliances. "Good," he replied finally. "Prepare the crew. Make sure all systems are ready for the planet's atmosphere. Zyphora's gravity is slightly higher than Earth's. We don't want anyone getting hurt." Mara gave a half smile. "You always make it sound so simple." Elias shrugged. "Simple or not, it's our job to survive and make this work." The crew continued their preparations, checking weapons, scanning equipment, and running simulations. The Aurora descended through Zyphora's swirling purple clouds, the outside view dazzling yet strange. Massive spires of crystalline structures jutted from the planet's surface like frozen lightning. Rivers of luminescent liquid ran between the cities, reflecting the glow of twin suns above. To the human eye, it was beautiful. To the alien eye, it was home. As the landing gears touched down, the ship shuddered slightly. Elias felt a familiar thrill in his chest. He had piloted through far worse storms and asteroid belts. Yet the sensation of touching a new world always made him feel alive. Stepping off the ship, he was immediately struck by the scale of Zyphora's architecture. Towering buildings shimmered with a metallic sheen that reflected the sunlight in sharp, blinding streaks. The aliens themselves were tall, with sleek bodies and luminous skin. Their eyes glowed faintly and their movements were fluid, almost too perfect. The humans were led through a grand corridor, walls adorned with alien symbols that shifted and moved in patterns unfamiliar to the human mind. They were finally brought to a large chamber, circular in shape, with a domed ceiling that seemed to stretch into the sky. And there, seated upon a throne of crystalline material that sparkled like a galaxy captured in stone, was Queen Lyra. She was magnificent. Her presence commanded attention, and her gaze swept across the room with a precision that was almost unnerving. Her eyes fixed on Elias, as though she could see the hidden workings of his mind. The rest of the humans felt the weight of her stare and shifted nervously, but Elias remained calm. "Welcome, humans," Queen Lyra said, her voice melodic yet sharp, carrying a subtle power that demanded respect. "I have observed your species from afar, and I must admit I expected less." There were murmurs among the human delegation. "Less," Lieutenant Keene whispered to Elias, her voice tinged with nervous humor. Elias did not answer. He simply studied the Queen. There was a faint curiosity in her eyes, a glimmer that suggested she saw something unusual in him. "Captain Hart," she said, her gaze unwavering, "you appear ordinary. And yet there is something about you. Different. Perhaps you will demonstrate what your species is truly capable of." Elias offered a polite bow. "We are eager to learn from you, Your Majesty, and we hope to show you that humans can be both strong and adaptable." The Queen's lips curved slightly. "We shall see." At that moment, alarms suddenly rang through the chamber. The air shimmered violently as a gravitational anomaly struck unexpectedly. The humans and aliens alike were thrown off balance. Heavy objects floated and the chamber trembled. Aliens struggled to maintain control, their advanced technology straining under the pressure. Elias, however, remained calm. He anchored himself to the floor and quickly assessed the situation. He grabbed a nearby cable and used it to secure a group of humans moving with precise efficiency. He adjusted the controls of a nearby stabilizer, with an improvisation that surprised even the aliens. Within moments, he had restored partial control of the chamber. The anomaly subsided, leaving the humans shaken but unharmed. The aliens looked at him with wide eyes, their pride subtly bruised. Queen Lyra's gaze fixed on him fully now, her curiosity deepening. "You survived that," she said softly, though her voice carried the weight of awe. "You acted with clarity and decisiveness. Most of my advisors would have faltered." Elias shrugged modestly. "Instinct, Your Majesty. That's all humans have, and perhaps it is enough." The Queen studied him silently, as though weighing the value of her initial judgment. Elias sensed that he had done more than just save the humans. He had shattered the expectation that humans were weak. In that moment, he realized that power was not always about technology or strength. It was about will, intelligence, and adaptability. After the anomaly, the chamber quieted. The Queen waved her hand, and the remaining humans were guided to safety. Elias stayed for a brief moment, exchanging one last glance with her. In that look, he sensed recognition. Not fear, not pity, but acknowledgement. As he walked away with his crew, Mara whispered, "Captain, did you see the way she looked at you? I think she's..." "Impressed," Elias only smiled faintly. "Impressed is one word. Curious might be better. Curiosity can be dangerous for the one being observed." The crew followed him back to the ship, their steps cautious yet filled with excitement. Elias knew that this was only the beginning. The aliens underestimated humans, but they had just seen a glimpse of human potential. And Elias Hart, who appeared ordinary to everyone else, knew that his real power, his human ingenuity, courage, and unpredictability, was only beginning to reveal itself. The purple mist of Zyphora drifted across the landing platform as the twin suns set, casting long shadows across the crystalline spires. In the distance, the Queen's palace glimmered, a silent reminder that the eyes of the galaxy were upon them. And Elias Hart, ordinary to most, felt the weight of destiny press lightly upon his shoulders. He had survived anomalies before. He had faced death countless times, and now he was about to show the universe why humans were not to be underestimated. The day after the audience with Queen Lyra, Captain Elias Hart stood on the deck of the Aurora, watching Zephora's twin suns rise over the crystalline horizon. The planet was alive with motion, glowing rivers winding between towering spires and alien ships gliding through the sky like silver arrows. Yet despite the beauty, Elias felt a tension in the air. The aliens were watching him, and he could sense that every step he took would be observed and judged. Lieutenant Mara Keen approached him, tablet in hand. "Captain, the Queen has requested we prepare for a mission immediately. She wants humans to traverse the Shattered Nebula." Elias raised an eyebrow. "The Shattered Nebula? That's considered impossible even for Zephora's advanced navigators. Why would they send humans there?" Mara shrugged. "Apparently the Queen wants to test us. See what humans can really do. She says your last performance impressed her more than you know." Elias's lips curved into a small smile. "Impressing aliens is one thing. Surviving the Shattered Nebula is another." The Aurora's crew gathered in the briefing room. Holographic images of the Shattered Nebula filled the air, twisting and shifting like living maps. Jagged asteroid fields, energy storms, and invisible gravitational anomalies made the nebula a nightmare for even Zyphora's most skilled pilots. "Most of the alien navigators refuse to enter the nebula," Mara explained. "They claim it's too unpredictable, but Queen Lyra insists. She believes humans may find a way." Elias studied the holographic display. The nebula's patterns were chaotic, yet he noticed something the aliens had missed, a subtle rhythm in the movement of energy clusters. "The nebula isn't random," he said aloud. "It has patterns. We just need to understand them." The crew exchanged skeptical looks. Humans were rarely known for precision or patience in alien eyes, yet Elias's calm confidence made them believe in him. The journey began the next day. The Aurora slipped through Zephora's atmosphere and into the open sky. Elias guided the ship with steady hands, his eyes scanning both the controls and the shifting nebula ahead. From the observation deck, the nebula appeared alive. Streams of energy twisted like snakes, and massive rocks floated unpredictably. The Aurora's sensors flickered constantly, trying to map the chaos. "This is insane," muttered one of the human engineers, gripping a rail. "There's no way we can navigate this." Elias smiled faintly. "Nothing in the universe is impossible if you approach it with patience and creativity." He moved from station to station, making small adjustments, combining alien navigation data with human improvisation. When an asteroid shifted unexpectedly, Elias calculated the trajectory manually, bypassing the ship's automated systems. The crew watched in awe as he guided the Aurora safely through the first wave of energy storms. Even the alien observers, who had accompanied them reluctantly, were impressed. Their advanced technology could not anticipate the unpredictable, but Elias's human intuition and creativity filled the gaps. Several hours into the journey, the first major challenge appeared, a massive energy vortex that pulsed like a living heartbeat. Sensors indicated that the vortex could destabilize the Aurora's hull if approached incorrectly. One of the alien navigators said, "There is no safe path through this. Turn back, you will be destroyed." Elias shook his head. "We're not turning back. Watch the patterns, the pulses are regular. Time it right and we can slip through." He directed the ship with precise movements, waiting for the vortex to reach its lowest point. The crew held their breath as the Aurora entered the swirling energy field. The ship shook violently, alarms blaring, but Elias remained calm. His hands moved over the controls with practiced precision, adjusting thrust and angle to ride the pulses instead of fighting them. Minutes later, the ship emerged on the other side, intact. Silence filled the deck, then a murmur of disbelief. The aliens stared at Elias, their eyes wide. Queen Lyra, observing from Zephora through a remote link, said nothing at first. Then her voice came over the comm system. "Human, you are remarkable. I did not expect you to survive this." Elias nodded respectfully. "It was a team effort, Your Majesty. The crew did well." The Aurora continued deeper into the nebula. Each challenge was more complex than the last. Asteroid storms, unstable energy bridges, gravitational distortions that twisted the ship as if the laws of physics themselves were being rewritten. Yet Elias's human adaptability turned danger into opportunity. He used the ship's tools in ways the aliens never imagined, combining alien technology with creative human problem-solving. At one point, a massive asteroid blocked their path. Alien pilots suggested waiting for it to move on its own. Elias disagreed. "We don't wait for the universe to cooperate. We make it work." He designed a temporary magnetic tether using ship components, pulling the asteroid slowly aside. The crew gasped as they watched the impossible happen. The nebula was yielding to human ingenuity. Even the aliens were forced to reconsider their assumptions. Their eyes, once filled with subtle disdain, now reflected curiosity, awe, and a hint of fear. Humans were supposed to be weak, but here was proof that they could defy the impossible. As they approached the heart of the nebula, Elias noticed a strange pattern in the energy fields. The vortexes and distortions were not random. They followed a rhythm, almost like a heartbeat. He realized that the nebula itself was alive, or at least responsive to certain energies. "Listen," he said to the crew. "The nebula is communicating in its own way. If we understand its rhythm, we can navigate safely." The crew listened as he described the subtle shifts in energy, timing their maneuvers to match. Slowly, carefully, the Aurora moved deeper into the core, avoiding destruction with a combination of observation, intuition, and precise action. By the time they reached a stable area in the nebula, the crew was exhausted but exhilarated. They had done what no human or alien had ever done: navigated the impossible shattered nebula alive. Elias allowed himself a rare moment of satisfaction. "See? Nothing is impossible if you stay calm, think clearly, and use your mind." Lieutenant Keene smiled. "You make it sound so easy, Captain. But we all saw the danger." "I don't know how you stayed so calm," Elias shrugged. "Humans survive because we adapt. We improvise. We never give up. That's our real strength." The alien observers, silent for much of the mission, finally spoke. One of the elder navigators said, "Your species is different. We believed humans to be simple and fragile, but you prove otherwise." This is extraordinary." Elias only nodded. He did not need praise. He knew the work was far from over. The Queen had sent them here to test humans, and they had passed the first challenge. But the real test, something far greater, was still ahead. Queen Lyra's image appeared again on the comm screen. Her eyes were sharper than before, filled with a mix of respect and calculation. "Captain Hart," she said, "your performance is intriguing. I must admit, I am curious to see what else humans are capable of." Continue your mission and you may yet prove more than I imagined. Elias met her gaze with calm confidence. We will do our best, Your Majesty. That is all humans ever promise and all we ever deliver. As the Aurora continued through the nebula, Elias realized something important. Humans were underestimated across the galaxy. Aliens thought their technology and intellect made them superior, but humans had something that could not be measured: intuition, courage, and adaptability. And in the heart of the shattered nebula, under the watchful eyes of Queen Lyra, Elias' heart would begin to reveal the true extent of human potential. The nebula stretched endlessly ahead, dangerous yet full of possibility. Each pulse of energy, each unpredictable twist of space was a test. And Elias, the man who appeared ordinary to all, knew that humans were capable of facing anything, even the impossible. The stars beyond the nebula shone faintly, a silent promise that this was only the beginning. Humanity had survived, and now it was beginning to show the galaxy what it could do. The Aurora floated silently through the shattered nebula, its hull glinting in the pale light of distant stars. Captain Elias Hart stood on the bridge, eyes fixed on the swirling chaos outside. The nebula was no longer just a challenge. It had become a test of endurance, teamwork, and the very limits of human ingenuity. Lieutenant Mara Keene approached him quietly, her face tense. Captain, something feels wrong. The sensors are picking up unusual signals from the nebula's core. I think someone might be watching us. Elias frowned, scanning the readouts. Not unexpected, he said. Remember, Queen Lyra did send alien observers with us. But these readings, they're different. Someone is interfering. The crew shifted uneasily. The thought of sabotage in such a dangerous environment was frightening. Sabotage? One engineer asked. Here, in the nebula? Elias nodded. It's possible. Some of the alien council may not like the idea of humans proving themselves. If someone sees us succeed, they may lose influence with the Queen. He moved to the controls, adjusting shields and scanning patterns. The Aurora's sensors flickered as unknown signals pulsed through the ship's systems. Nothing was damaging yet, but it was enough to make the crew nervous. Captain, said Mara, pointing at the main display. There, do you see that? A small cluster of energy anomalies. It's following us. Elias examined the readings carefully. The anomalies moved deliberately, almost like a predator stalking prey. This isn't a natural phenomenon, he said quietly. Someone is trying to manipulate the nebula to trap us. The crew exchanged worried glances. Aliens trained in navigating the nebula had already deemed it impossible. But Elias remained calm. We've survived worse, he said. Humans don't give up, we adapt. That's what we do best. Hours passed, and the anomalies grew stronger. The Aurora's shields flickered under strange gravitational pulses. Small meteor clusters began targeting the ship's trajectory unnaturally. It was no longer just a natural hazard. It was a calculated attempt to stop them. Elias gathered the crew for a quick meeting in the bridge. Listen carefully, he began. We're being tested in a way we didn't expect. This is no ordinary navigation problem. Someone is actively trying to trap us inside the nebula. Panic was restrained, but the tension was thick. What can we do? Mara asked. We can't fight something we can't see. Elias smiled faintly. We fight smart, not just with weapons. Humans survive by thinking differently. We'll outsmart whoever, or whatever, is trying to stop us. He divided the crew into teams, assigning each group a specific role. Some would monitor energy pulses. Others would maintain shields and engines, while Elias himself moved between stations, improvising solutions in real time. The first true test came quickly. A massive asteroid, previously stationary, suddenly shifted directly into the Aurora's path. The alien navigators watching from the observation deck froze in fear. It cannot be moved, one exclaimed. Elias studied the situation. Nothing is immovable, he said calmly. He grabbed the portable control interface and rerouted the ship's energy, creating a magnetic pulse to shift the asteroid slightly. It moved slowly, but enough for the Aurora to slip past safely. The crew let out a collective sigh of relief, but Elias's gaze remained sharp. They're testing us continuously. Each obstacle is deliberate. We can't underestimate them. Night fell in the nebula, though night was a relative term in a space where light shifted unpredictably. The crew rested in shifts, but Elias stayed awake, analyzing patterns. He began to notice subtle inconsistencies in the gravitational fields, almost as if the nebula itself was being manipulated. "These aren't random events," he said to Mara during a quiet moment. "Someone is guiding the hazards. They want to see how far humans can push, how fast we adapt." Mara frowned. "But why? What do they gain from this?" Elias thought for a moment. "Control, influence. The Alien Council wants to prove humans are weak or remove us before we become a threat. But humans, we thrive under pressure. This is exactly the kind of challenge we were made for." As they neared the nebula's core, the anomalies intensified. Energy fields pulsed violently, threatening to destabilize the Aurora's hull. The alien observers whispered among themselves, clearly impressed yet unsettled. Suddenly, a massive energy surge hit the ship. Alarms blared, lights flickered, and the hull groaned. Systems went offline in rapid succession. "Status report," Elias shouted. "We're losing shield integrity. Life support is fluctuating," one engineer cried. "Steady," Elias said. "We've prepared for this. Everyone follow emergency protocols. Divert power to shields and engines. Keep us stable." He moved to the engineering console, using his human intuition to reroute energy in a way the alien navigators had never considered. The ship shuddered violently, then stabilized. The crew stared at him in awe. Even the aliens murmured among themselves, clearly shaken. "Your species survives in ways we cannot comprehend," one said quietly. Elias only nodded. "We adapt. That's what makes us strong." Hours turned into a tense day as the Aurora navigated the hazards. Elias's calmness under pressure inspired the crew. Each human acted with ingenuity, using their knowledge, intuition, and creativity to solve problems on the fly. At one point, a rogue energy wave struck the ship's navigation system, leaving them temporarily blind. Alien pilots froze, unsure how to proceed. Elias remained calm. He instructed the crew to rely on visual cues and instinct, guiding the Aurora through the wave manually. It was dangerous, but human improvisation once again saved the day. Queen Lyra's image appeared briefly on the comm screen, her eyes filled with intrigue. "Captain Hart," she said softly, "your methods are unconventional, yet effective. I admit I am impressed." Elias bowed slightly. "We do what is necessary to survive, Your Majesty. That is all humans ever promise, but the true challenge was yet to come." Deep in the nebula, Elias detected multiple energy pulses converging toward the Aurora. They were moving in synchronization, targeting the ship's weak points. "This is it," he said quietly. "They want to end the mission here." Mara looked worried. "Can we survive it?" Elias smiled faintly. "We're human. We survive. Trust me." He directed the crew to reinforce shields, stabilize engines, and prepare countermeasures. Then, relying on instinct and intuition rather than alien calculations, he guided the ship through the converging pulses. The hull groaned under pressure, but the humans acted with coordination, thinking faster than the aliens who expected rigid adherence to protocol. The pulses dispersed, the threat neutralized, and the Aurora drifted into a calmer sector of the nebula. The crew cheered, exhausted but alive. Even the alien observers looked stunned. Queen Lyra's voice came again, calm but filled with authority. "Captain Hart, your species is remarkable. I underestimated humans. You survived what no other ship could." Elias allowed himself a brief smile. "We're not just survivors, Your Majesty. We are adapters, innovators, and we never give up." The Aurora continued its journey deeper into the heart of the nebula. Elias knew the hidden threat was only the beginning. Someone, or a group, wanted to test humans in ways the galaxy had never seen. But each challenge only strengthened the crew's confidence, proving that human courage, creativity, and adaptability were unmatched. As stars glimmered faintly beyond the swirling nebula, Elias felt a quiet determination. The Alien Council might try to undermine them, the nebula might seem impossible, and Queen Lyra might have more tests ahead, but humans had something that could not be measured: instinct, resilience, and ingenuity. And Elias Hart, the man who appeared ordinary to everyone else, would continue to prove that humans were more than capable of facing the impossible and surviving. The shattered nebula stretched endlessly ahead, dangerous yet full of opportunity. Every pulse of energy, every shifting asteroid was another test, and Elias knew deep in his heart that humans were made for such challenges. The stars beyond the nebula whispered possibilities. Humans had survived, and now they were beginning to show the galaxy what they were truly capable of. The Aurora drifted deeper into the shattered nebula, the swirling energy field stretching endlessly before them. Captain Elias Hart stood on the bridge, his hands resting lightly on the console as he scanned the shifting anomalies. The nebula had grown wilder, its pulses stronger, its gravitational distortions more unpredictable, yet Elias remained calm. "Captain," Lieutenant Marakeen said, her voice tight with tension. "The readings, the heart of the nebula is unlike anything we've seen. Energy levels are off the charts. Even alien ships have been destroyed here." Elias nodded. "I know. This is where we find out what we're really made of." The crew exchanged uneasy glances. The alien navigators, their expressions usually unreadable, now showed the first hints of fear. They had sailed through dangerous sectors before, but nothing prepared them for the heart of the nebula. Elias moved to the main view screen. The core of the nebula pulsed like a giant living heart, energy rippling outward in waves that distorted both light and space. "Look at it closely," he said. "The nebula isn't just dangerous. It's alive in a way. It responds to energy, to movement, to intention," one alien navigator gasped. "Impossible. It cannot be controlled." Elias smiled faintly. "Nothing in the universe is impossible if you understand it." The first wave of danger arrived without warning. Massive energy pulses surged toward the Aurora, twisting space around the ship. Systems flickered, alarms blared, and the hull groaned under pressure. "Captain, we're taking heavy damage," an engineer shouted. Elias's hands moved swiftly over the controls, rerouting power to shields and engines. He watched the pulses carefully, timing each maneuver with intuition that no computer could match. "Steady," he said calmly. "We're going to ride these waves instead of fighting them." The crew hesitated, unsure if his method could succeed. But Elias's confidence was contagious. Slowly, carefully, he guided the Aurora through the first wave, using the pulse's own energy to propel them forward. The alien observers whispered among themselves. They had never seen a human move with such precision, using intuition instead of calculations, improvisation instead of rigid protocols. When the first wave subsided, the Aurora floated relatively unharmed. The crew exhaled, relief and awe mixing in their expressions. Elias only nodded, already scanning for the next threat. The heart of the nebula was not done testing them. Massive gravitational distortions followed, each stronger than the last. Rocks and energy fragments collided in the ship's path, as if the nebula itself were trying to crush them. Elias's mind worked faster than ever. He directed the crew to adjust the shields, rerouted auxiliary power to engines, and manually calculated trajectories through gaps in the chaos. The ship shuddered violently, but each human on board followed his lead, moving in perfect coordination. Mara watched in disbelief. "Captain, how are you doing this? The nebula is alive. It's impossible to predict." Elias's eyes were calm, his expression serene. "The impossible doesn't exist. The nebula responds to energy patterns, to intention. I'm not predicting it. I'm listening to it, feeling it. Humans survive by noticing things others miss." The alien observer's eyes widened. The Queen, watching from afar, leaned closer to her console. Elias had passed the first tests, but now he was doing something none had expected, mastering the heart of the nebula. Hours passed. The Aurora moved deeper into the core, each pulse of energy more powerful, more dangerous. The crew worked tirelessly, but Elias remained the calm center. He anticipated shifts, corrected course instantly, and improvised solutions faster than the alien computers could calculate. Then, the final test appeared, a massive energy surge, unlike anything before. It enveloped the ship, threatening to tear the hull apart. Systems failed in rapid succession. Shields flickered, engines overloaded, and alarms screamed. Elias remained steady. "This is it," he said. "Brace yourselves. Follow my instructions exactly." He directed the crew to use the ship's auxiliary systems to create a counterwave, a pulse of energy designed to harmonize with the nebula itself. The idea was risky. If mistimed, it would destroy the ship instantly. "Ready?" Elias asked, his voice calm but commanding. "Ready," the crew chorused. "Trust in him absolute." Elias activated the pulse. The Aurora shuddered violently, energy surging around them. For a tense moment, it seemed the ship would be torn apart. But slowly the energy began to harmonize. The nebula's wild pulses synchronized with the ship's counterwave. The heart of the nebula seemed to pulse in rhythm with them. The crew stared in awe as the chaos around them calmed. The nebula, once an impossible maze of destruction, now flowed around the aurora like a river. Elias had done the impossible. He had turned the nebula's energy against itself, using human intuition and ingenuity to survive where alien technology alone could not. Queen Lyra's voice came over the comms, filled with awe. "Captain Hart, I have never seen such power. Your species, it is beyond my understanding." Elias bowed slightly, calm as ever. "It is not power in the usual sense, Your Majesty. Humans survive because we adapt, we improvise. We never give up. That is our true strength." The alien observers were silent, stunned. They had witnessed humans surviving and mastering, something no alien ship could survive. Their calculations, their technology, their centuries of knowledge could not match human ingenuity. With the heart of the nebula behind them, the aurora drifted into a calm sector. The crew was exhausted but exhilarated. Elias walked among them, nodding quietly. "We've done what no one thought possible. But remember, this is only the beginning." Mara looked at him with admiration. "Captain, you're incredible. How did you stay so calm? How did you know what to do?" Elias smiled faintly. "I didn't know. I felt." Humans survive by noticing what others ignore, by trusting instincts, by never giving up. That's what makes us remarkable. Even the alien observers began to nod slowly, a grudging respect forming. The Queen's image appeared again, her eyes shining with something rare, admiration. "Captain Hart," she said softly, "you have proven humans are far stronger than I imagined. I will need to reconsider everything I know about your species." Elias inclined his head respectfully. "All humans ask for is a chance to show what we can do. That is enough." As the aurora moved beyond the nebula, Elias took a moment to look out at the stars. The galaxy stretched endlessly before them, full of unknown dangers, unknown civilizations, and unknown opportunities. Humans had survived the impossible. Humans had outsmarted the nebula. And most importantly, humans had proven that no matter how small, ordinary, or underestimated, their potential was limitless. The Queen's voice echoed in his mind, a reminder of the stakes yet to come. Elias knew the next challenges would be greater. The galaxy would not underestimate humans forever, but for now, the aurora had survived, and humanity's power had been revealed. Elias Hart, the man who appeared ordinary, had shown the universe that humans were extraordinary, not through weapons, not through technology, but through courage, ingenuity, and the unyielding will to survive. The aurora emerged from the shattered nebula into the calm of open space. The twin suns of Zephora reflected off its hull, casting light across the crew's exhausted but triumphant faces. Captain Elias Hart stood on the bridge, his hands resting lightly on the console as he watched the nebula shrink into the distance. The journey had tested them in every way imaginable. Energy pulses, gravitational distortions, rogue asteroids, and even sabotage had pushed the crew to their limits. And yet, through every trial, humans had prevailed, not through sheer technology, but through ingenuity, courage, and adaptability. Lieutenant Mara Keen approached, her face bright with awe. "Captain, we did it." "We actually survived the nebula." Elias nodded, a faint smile crossing his face. "We didn't just survive, Mara, we learned. We adapted. And we proved something important, not just to the aliens, but to ourselves." The crew gathered around, tired but smiling. Engineers wiped sweat from their foreheads. Navigators checked instruments one last time, and even the alien observers remained silent, their expressions revealing a mix of astonishment and respect. A comm signal broke the momentary quiet. Queen Lyra's image appeared on the main view screen. She was regal and calm, but her eyes reflected a depth of respect previously unseen. "Captain Hart," she said, her voice deliberate and clear, "you and your crew have achieved what no alien has managed before. You have survived the shattered nebula, adapted to hazards that would destroy even our most advanced ships, and solved challenges with creativity that surpasses our understanding. Humans, you are extraordinary." Elias inclined his head respectfully. "Thank you, Your Majesty. We only did what humans always do, observe, adapt, and persevere." The Queen's eyes softened slightly. "I have misjudged your species. Humans are not fragile. You are not ordinary. You are capable of things we cannot even calculate. Your courage, intelligence, and intuition, They are remarkable. The alien observers whispered among themselves, clearly discussing her words. Aliens who had once seen humans as weak, unworthy of serious attention, now nodded slowly, a grudging respect forming. Elias noticed it, and it filled him with quiet satisfaction. The aurora descended toward Zyphora's capital city, the crystalline spires glittering in the twin suns' light. The humans had been summoned for a formal recognition ceremony. Word of their success had spread quickly, and the alien populace awaited the arrival of humans who had achieved the impossible. As the ship landed, Elias and his crew disembarked. They were greeted by a crowd of aliens, their expressions ranging from curiosity to admiration. For the first time, humans were not viewed as primitive outsiders. They were recognized as equals. Queen Lyra awaited them at the top of the grand staircase, her throne room brighter and more magnificent than before. She gestured for Elias to step forward. "You have proven yourselves, Captain Hart," she said, her voice carrying across the chamber. "And in doing so, you have proven the potential of your entire species. Humans will no longer be underestimated in this galaxy." Elias bowed, his posture calm but full of quiet authority. "We do not seek praise, Your Majesty. We only seek to show what humans can do when given the chance." The Queen's lips curved in a faint smile. "Chance. You have taken that chance and turned it into triumph. I am honored to witness it." The ceremony continued. Aliens of all ranks came forward, offering gestures of respect and congratulations. Engineers marveled at the human crew's ingenuity, politicians took note of their diplomacy, and navigators discussed their unorthodox problem-solving techniques. Elias and his team were celebrated not for being the strongest or the fastest, but for demonstrating the qualities that made humans unique: creativity, courage, and adaptability. Mara leaned close to Elias. "Captain, look at them. They actually respect us," Elias nodded. "Yes, and that respect is earned, Mara. Not through fear, not through weapons, but through action, problem-solving, and courage. That's how humans earn a place among the stars." Even the alien observers approached him. "Your methods, they are unlike anything we have seen," one said. "Humans, you are remarkable indeed." Elias's expression remained modest. "We do what we must. That's all any species can do." After the ceremony, Queen Lyra requested a private audience with Elias. They met in her chamber, a place filled with soft light reflecting off the crystalline walls. She looked at him carefully, her expression unreadable. "Captain Hart," she said finally, "I have seen humans survive where no one else could. I have seen ingenuity, courage, and intuition in action. I wish to learn more about your species." "Humans are not what I expected," Elias smiled faintly. "You will see, Your Majesty, that humans are full of surprises. We survive, we adapt, and we create solutions where others see only problems. That is our true strength." The Queen studied him, then nodded slowly. "Very well. Humans will be welcomed here as allies. Your actions have changed my view and perhaps the view of the entire council." Elias inclined his head respectfully. "That is enough for us. Recognition is valuable, but the real reward is showing what humans are capable of." As the humans prepared to return to the Aurora, Elias reflected on the journey. The nebula had been a test, yes, but more than that, it had been a revelation. Humans were underestimated across the galaxy. Others assumed strength came from technology or raw power. But Elias had shown that the true strength of humanity lay in the mind, in courage, and in adaptability. The crew boarded the ship, each member proud of what they had achieved. Engineers adjusted systems with renewed confidence. Navigators plotted courses with a new understanding of problem-solving. Even the alien observers, once skeptical and cold, now treated humans as equals. Elias stood at the bridge, gazing at the stars beyond Zyphora. The galaxy was vast, full of unknown dangers and opportunities. And humans, ordinary to the eye but extraordinary in spirit, were ready to face them all. "Captain," Mara said quietly, "what happens next?" Elias looked out at the stars, the twin suns of Zyphora reflecting off the ship's hull. "Next we explore. We face new challenges. We show the galaxy what humans can do, and we do it together." The Aurora lifted from Zyphora, engines humming as it soared into open space. The nebula was behind them, a memory of danger and triumph. Ahead lay endless possibilities. For the first time, humans were no longer outsiders in a galaxy that had doubted them. They were recognized as equals, capable of feats that even the most advanced civilizations could not imagine. And at the center of it all stood Elias Hart, the man who appeared ordinary but whose courage, intellect, and will had changed the way the universe saw humanity. The stars stretched endlessly ahead, each one a promise of discovery, challenge, and achievement. Humans had survived the impossible, outsmarted the unimaginable, and earned respect where none was expected. And in the quiet of the aurora, Captain Hart allowed himself a rare thought. The galaxy had only begun to see what humans could truly do.